Hello and welcome to the United Community Channel. My name is Jack and this is your latest Manchester United news. The fixture list is out for Manchester United and it's not an easy start, guys. It is not an easy start. Ruben Amorim is going to be tested to the best of his abilities early doors in the Premier League at the start of next season. And what does it mean for Manchester United? Well, I think more than anything else it means we need to get our transfer dealings wrapped up as quickly as possible. I really do. We're going to talk a little bit about that, guys. We're also going to talk about an update from David Ornstein on Hugo Ekitike and the links with Manchester United. He's also had an update, Fabrizio Romano has had an update on Gyökeres to Manchester United, so we'll talk about that as well. And United are set to lose Nick Cox, the head of the director of the academy at Manchester United, so we'll talk a little bit about that. Just a little bit different tonight, guys. Pre-record tonight, no live, unfortunately. I've got a few bits and bobs to do, so we'll get through it as quick as we can, maybe 20 minutes or so. I hope you enjoy it. Smash a like on the video if you can. It helps the channel out an awful lot. Subscribe if you're new, and do get your comments in down below, guys. I want to hear your thoughts, I want to hear your comments, and I will reply to all of them as well. But we're going to start, of course, with the fixture list, and it has been revealed today. And like I said, it's difficult. It's a difficult start. It is a difficult start. Manchester United's fixture list will start with a home game against Arsenal, followed up by Fulham away, Burnley at home, City away, Chelsea at home, and Brentford away. There are our first 6 games. We then go into October with Liverpool. I think after that, it kind of, not that it gets easier, but a lot of the teams you would hope we can pick up points against start to come along. But let's focus on the first 6 games for the moment, guys. I mean, Arsenal kicking it off, absolutely, desperate to go on and win Premier League titles and so on and so forth, and they will be riled up for this. Now, look, we've got home advantage, we do, but I mean, give me Sunderland at home in the first game of the season. But look, I mean, what I've said on this is it goes to show maybe the box office still and the pull that Manchester United have. We finished 15th last season, but yet United are at home headlining a Super Sunday on the first weekend of the season. So look, it just goes to show the pull that Manchester United still have. But it's going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult. It really is. Going then to Fulham away. Fulham has never been an easy team for Manchester United in the last 3 or 4 years. We have a couple of humdinger games against them. Obviously, the FA Cup one stands out where I think they had 2 players sent off and their manager, wasn't it? And then we go to Burnley at home. You'd be expecting to pick up points against Burnley at home. Then we've got the Manchester derby away, City away at the Etihad. Never an easy game, and Pep is going to want to prove a lot of doubters wrong on the back of maybe a disappointing season for them last year as well. And Chelsea then at home. Chelsea at home, you don't really know what you're going to get with Chelsea. We've been kind of hit and miss with Chelsea. We haven't done too bad at Old Trafford in the past couple of seasons. Obviously, the away leg or the away fixture and that has been quite difficult for us at Stamford Bridge. And then Brentford. And again, Brentford are kind of in a bit of a transition period at the moment, aren't they? Because Thomas Frank has left. He's gone to Spurs. Who are they going to bring in to replace him? How are they going to set up? Again, I'd be expecting hopefully 3 points there. So, I mean, look, if we're talking about the first 6 games of the season and we're talking about how many points can we pick up in the first 6 games, I've got a sneaky suspicion with Arsenal we could get one over on them. I really do. I think we've been closer to Arsenal in a head-to-head game than a lot of people think over the past couple of years, and obviously we knocked them out in the FA Cup last year as well. Fulham away, all right, I'm going to go 3 points. I'm going to start positive, and I'm going to say 3 points to United against Arsenal. Fulham away, I'm going to go with a draw on that one. I'm going to go a draw. There's something about Fulham that doesn't fill me with confidence. Then we go to Burnley at home. I think that's 3 points, so we're talking about 7 points there from a potential 9. City away, I think we lose that one. I hope I'm wrong, but I think we lose that one. Chelsea at home, I'm going to go draw on that one. So that's 8 points. And then Brentford away, I'm going to go with a win on that one because they're in a bit of transition at the moment. So 3, 4, 7, 8, 11. 11 points from the first 18 games. It's not bad. It's not bad. It's not title contention form. But, I mean, are we getting title contention form? Are we going to challenge for a title this year? Absolutely not. So let me know what you think, guys. You know, what do you think about the fixtures? Again, look, we can do a specific video on it in the coming few days if you wish. Let me know in the comment section below if you want that, and we'll talk through the whole fixture list. But I think the first 6 games up until the end of September, quite difficult. But again, like I said, it all comes down to the transfer window now. Can we get our players in as quickly as possible? Our signings, get them out on pre-season tour, get the ball rolling. And again, when you're talking about the likes of Man City, I mean, the 13th of September, I know, is a good way into the season. It's a month into the season, but you know they're away playing now on the club in the Club World Cup. You know, are they going to be tired at the start of the season? That remains to be seen. But look, I think it can be positive enough. I think, and again, it all comes down to getting the players in. Get Ruben Amorim the best possible start we can, and the board have to say, right, well, we'll get the players in the door for you and give you the best chance, to start the season well, because it is so difficult. And finally, before we move on from this as well, guys, Opta have released the difficulty rating of the start of the campaign. It's the first 5 games, and Manchester United topped the list. Manchester United have the most difficult start to the Premier League campaign of any team. Now, some people are saying, no, Arsenal's is way more difficult, but you've got to realise where Arsenal are in comparison to where United are. And, you know, I'd say some of the difficulty rating here is going off of the basis of last year's performances and league, I suppose, standings at the end of last season. But United, like I said, Arsenal, Fulham, Burnley, Man City and Chelsea, 94.6 rating. And the closest one obviously is Arsenal with 94. Then you get down to Bournemouth, Everton, Liverpool, so on and so forth. And again, look, I mean, Bournemouth playing Liverpool, Wolves, Spurs, Brighton and Newcastle would be difficult for them given whereabouts they are in terms of quality, and United has to be taken into consideration with that, and it's probably why we see us at the top of the list. If we were winning Premier League titles, and let's say this was 2008, you know, Manchester United starting with Arsenal, Fulham, Burnley, Man City and Chelsea, you would probably see us down at the very, well, I would say the very bottom, but somewhere mid-table maybe. So, difficult start. Give Ruben Amorim the tools. Get the players in as quickly as possible. Get them on pre-season tour, and let's start the season as good as we can. Now, guys, want to talk about Hugo Ekitike. Obviously, he's been heavily linked with Manchester United in the past week or so. And again, look, I'm letting a lot of this over my head because the links are there because United have contacted Eintracht Frankfurt. It doesn't mean we're actually going to go for him, in my opinion. And to be honest with you, with the numbers that are being touted, I don't think we should. And I've made that quite clear. But David Ornstein has said on the Athletic podcast today, Man United have made inquiries about Hugo Ekitike, but they are just understanding the conditions of a deal. This does not mean they will try to sign him. There is optimism among English clubs a deal could be struck for less than the quoted 85 million. He goes on to say that when you speak with English clubs, they think they could pry Ekitike away for a bit lower than 85 million. Maybe if a club got to 80 million pounds with some add-ons or whatever, I don't know how they would structure it, but there is some optimism that it's not quite as high ultimately as Eintracht Frankfurt are letting it be known. Now, you're going from 85 to 80? No, thank you. No, thank you. We just can't afford to do this deal. We really can't. From a financial standpoint, but again, like I said last night, also from a project standpoint, we can't afford to go out and sign another project player at number 9. We already done it with Rasmus Højlund and it hasn't worked out. We have to go out and sign an established striker, and I feel a little bit like a broken record, and we will be talking about this a hell of a lot more until we get that striker in the door. And again, I think it's going to drag on. I really do. I don't see deals for strikers getting done anytime soon because you're talking about that first domino needing to fall, and who's going to pull the trigger first? Is it going to be Arsenal with Sesko, for example, and then does that open the door for Gyökeres to come to us? That remains to be seen, and I think once that first domino does fall, then you might see teams really nailing their colours to the mast on who they want to go out and actually try and sign. But I think Ekitike to Manchester United, guys, it can't happen. Like I said, financially, and for the project player that he is, where he might need a season or two to develop before he's, you know, ready to be a 20 goal a season in the Premier League striker, we can't afford to make that mistake again. We really can't. And I mean, yeah, like I said, it's between the two victors for me, Victor Gyökeres or Victor Osimhen, and I think if a financial packet can be made for either of them, then I think United probably would do a deal, and that's got to be the case. It's got to be the case. We've got to have a focal point in our team going into this season that can score goals for us on a consistent basis, and if we don't, it's going to be very, very difficult for us to move our way up the table closer to them European spots that we know we need to be. Because you need to be in Europe financially and, to attract players. And I know, look, we said, and a lot of opposition fans were throwing it at us that, you're not in Europe this season, you won't attract players. Cunha was done instantly nearly, and Buemo is going to be next. And let's see what we can do with a striker. And then whatever happens after that, whether it be a midfielder, centre-back, new goalkeeper, I think that will all depend on outgoings. But when we're talking about the striker, guys, there has been an update as well on Victor Gyökeres. And Fabrizio Romano has been speaking about this, and I'll let him speak about it and see what you think.
Look, I don't think Gyökeres said no to Man United. I think Gyökeres, from what I heard, told, obviously, his agents told to Manchester United that the priority is Arsenal, which is different because, obviously, if you say no is one point. If you say my priority is another club, could mean that maybe in a few weeks the situation could change. But at the moment, what I can tell you is that for Gyökeres, the most important part of the story is to understand the final price. Because we know there is this battle between the agents and Sporting, and one thing is to sign the player for 60 million euros, another thing is to sign the player for 80. So the price is going to be an important point to see how this war will end between the agents and Sporting. So that's why Arsenal are still working on the Gyökeres deal, but waiting to see what happens in terms of pricing. For Benjamin Sesko, there were reports this morning. Look, I don't think Gyökeres...
Now, so, I mean, it pretty much sums it up, doesn't it? It makes it clear. Gyökeres has not said no to Manchester United. He has given his priority to Arsenal if they want to sign him and if they agree a fee, and decide to move for Gyökeres. That's where his priority is going to land. It doesn't mean that he doesn't want to sign for Manchester United. And I know a lot of the fan base are going to say, well, fuck him then. Nonsense. Are you telling me that you're not going to want Gyökeres if he's available just because he prioritised Arsenal over Manchester United? Absolute nonsense. Because, and of course you get that. It's a passionate reaction from the fan base. He wanted Arsenal, then to hell with him. We don't want him. But if he's scoring goals at the Stretford End in the first game of the season against Arsenal, we're going to love him. So, you've got to take the rough with the smooth here. Gyökeres has not said no to Manchester United. He prioritises Arsenal, obviously, because they've got Champions League football. They're challenging for league titles. But I do think that if Arsenal decide to go for Sesko, I think it opens the door for Manchester United and really quickly to move for Gyökeres to get him in the door. We haven't seen him being linked with anybody else, to be quite honest with you. It looks at the moment like Arsenal or Manchester United. Arsenal first, depending on what they want. They could go for Sesko, and they may well go for Sesko. And if they do, I think, like I said, it opens the door for Manchester United. But Victor Gyökeres to Manchester United is not off the cards. It is absolutely not off the cards. And finally, guys, some disappointing news coming out of Manchester United today, and it is that Nick Cox will leave Manchester United as the director of the academy. Everton are in advanced talks to appoint him as their technical director. This is coming out again from The Athletic. Cox has led United's academy since 2019, overseeing the graduation to the senior side of Garnacho, Menu, Amas and Toby Collier. And look, it's disappointing because, I've listened to a lot of podcasts, and I think he actually was on Talk of the Devils podcast, if I remember correctly, a good few months ago, and he's very good at his job, in fairness to him. He's run the academy really, really well, and like we said, he's produced some very, very good players that have come up through the ranks, so it is disappointing to see him leave. And I have seen a reaction online today that, and again, it's online, but it's very reactionary towards it. Oh shit, we're losing another man, Ineos out and this nonsense. The Manchester United Academy has always produced and will continue to do so over the coming months and years. We do, again, as always, have to appoint somebody in that role that fits the bill. And when we're talking best in class, that filters its way all through the club. And I think Ineos, in fairness to them, have been quite good at doing that from the top down. When you talk about Omar Barada, I think is doing a good job. When you talk about Jason Wilcox doing a good job, Vivell is doing a good job, and so on and so forth. Look, I'm not massively concerned. We seem to be doing quite well in the transfer market in terms of signing young players underage as well that go directly into the academy, which help in terms of, you know, producing them up into the first team, and, you know, and then, you know, trying to, you know, turn them into top quality, you know, first team professional footballers. And if that means, you know, in the future, like Garnacho is a great example. You know, if we sell Garnacho this summer, he is an academy prospect, even though we bought him from Atletico Madrid, I think at 16, I think it was. He's still seen as an academy graduate from Manchester United, which means it's pure profit on the books if you're ever trying to sell players like that. So, look, I'm under no illusion, and I don't really worry too much that the Manchester United academy is going to fall asunder now that, you know, Nick Cox is gone. But it is very, very important that we appoint somebody in that role. I mean, there was talks of Nicky Butt a few years ago, didn't he? He left under the old regime. But again, look, we'll find out in due course who is going to take up that role. And I'm sure it's probably going to be somebody internal who knows the club, who knows the, you know, the history of it and what's expected from the academy, and, you know, how to produce not just players but good people as well. And I think that's always been something that Manchester United's academy has, you know, prided itself on, to be quite honest with you. But disappointing nonetheless. Guys, I appreciate everybody watching. Please do smash a like on the video if you haven't done so already. It does help out the channel an awful lot. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. And I want to know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Just leave a little comment. Let me know what you think. If you want me to do a full video on the fixture list in the coming days, let me know and I'll get on that as well. And we can go through it month by month and maybe do a points tally and see what we would end up with at the end of the season. But for now, we'll be back tomorrow night. The podcast is back tomorrow night, guys. Myself, Chris, Ben, Oisin and Desi will all be live together discussing everything over the past week about Manchester United. Thanks for watching. Smash a like in the video, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you on the next one.